Everybody, this is a guided walkthrough for the JWT Scratchpad challenge from picoCTF.org. So this is a medium level challenge in the web app hacking category from picoCTF 2019. The description of the challenge says, check the admin Scratchpad, and then they've got a URL that we can access. So if you want to access this as well, you can go over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to that website. Okay, so this webpage here, it's called JAWT. This is a very subtle play on words, and it references the technology we're going to be using over here. So it says powered by JWT. Welcome to JWT. JWT is an online scratchpad where you can jot down whatever you'd like. Consider it a notebook for your thoughts. JWT works best in Chrome, Google Chrome for some reason. You will need to log in and access the JWT Scratchpad. You can use any name other than admin because the admin user gets a special Scratchpad. So it says here, register with your name. You can use your name as a login because that's quick and easy to remember. If you don't like your name, use a short and cool one like John. Maybe. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to input a username. So they don't, well, let's try using admin. So it says here, name other than admin, but let's try admin. Okay, it says here, you cannot log in as the admin. He is special and you are not. That's kind of rude. So let's log in as HackerFrogs. Okay, so it says here, hello HackerFrogs, here is your JWT Scratchpad. So what we really want to do is we want to get access to the admin user, and this is where the JWTs come into play. So let's talk about that concept. Okay, so here we're talking about JWTs, otherwise known as JSON Web Tokens. So JSON Web Tokens, commonly called JWTs, are a common technology that web apps use to handle user sessions, and they're passed to the web browser as cookies. So usually when you log into a website, you'll usually, well, not always, but oftentimes you're going to see these JWTs, and these are cookies, and the way that you can identify them is this way. So JWTs can be easily identified as the cookie value that begins with the characters EYJ0. So that's because the first part of the JWT is encoded as a base64 string. So, and all decoded JWT values begin with these characters right here. So open squiggly bracket, and then double quotes, and then TYP, and then double quotes. So we can ID their encoded values easily. So anytime you see something that looks like this as a cookie value, you can usually identify that as a JWT. So if we go back to the application here, we're now logged in as the HackerFrogs user. If we go over to our web developer tools, and then we go over to storage, we're going to see that we've got a single cookie here called JWT, and we see the value right here. So we can copy this value. Okay, so we're just going to copy this JWT cookie value here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what we can see inside of the terminal. So in the terminal, if we echo out the value of the cookie here, and then we base64 decode it, we're going to see the first part of the cookie here. We can't see the entire cookie because the entire cookie isn't encoded using base64, but the first part of it is. So we can see type JWT alg HS256. So this is the beginning of the JWT over here. Okay, so yeah, so we can identify the JWT because it always begins with these characters right here. So EYJ0, and yeah, that's a little trick. So what are we doing? So reading and writing JWTs. So there are many different tools that we can use to read and write JWTs, such as this web app right here called JWT.io. So if we move over to that website, JWT.io, this is a web app that lets you read and write JWTs, and it can let you know what is inside of these tokens, and it can let you modify the tokens as well. So for example, we've got the website here, we got the JWT, we're going to copy that. We're just going to go over to this website. Inside of the field here, we're going to paste in the JWT that we got from the website, and it says here that we've got these values here. So type JWT algorithm HS256, and so for the payload, we've got user equals HackerFrogs. So what we want to do is we want to change our user so that we can access other user accounts. So how are we going to do that? So the same web app can be used to modify JWT data, which could be used to get access to different user accounts. So usually inside of the JWT, you've got a bunch of information here. If you can edit this information, we could get access to different user accounts. For example, it says here name, admin true. We could start modifying these values. Well, I mean, these are the values for this particular challenge. In this challenge, what we would do is we would go to the JWT encoder. So just click on that section of the page. And it says we've got our payload data. So user equals HackerFrogs. What we can do is we can go here, modify this so that the user is admin instead of HackerFrogs. So you're going to see that when we modify the value of the payload here, you're going to see that the value of the data here adjusts as well. So we just changed our user to admin, but there's actually a couple more steps that we need to do, because in order to have a valid JWT, we need to understand what the secret is. So there's a signing secret, otherwise known as a key. We need to know what that secret is so that we can sign the key and make it legitimate. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So JWT signing keys, otherwise known as secrets. So the last detail about JWTs is that they must be signed using a keyword, otherwise known as a secret, to be considered valid by the web application. So if the secret is not secure enough, it's possible to brute force the JWT secret with tools such as John the Ripper or Hashcat. So we're going to demonstrate how to do this. So let's see, let's go back here. We're just going to grab our JWT value. In the terminal, we're going to paste in the value of the JWT, and we're just going to echo it out and then redirect that into a file called JWT.txt. Okay, so after we do that, we've got a file in our directory called JWT.txt. It is the exact JWT that we're going to be dealing with. So what we can do is we can use a program such as John the Ripper. Actually, let's go up to the top before we run this command. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the secret from the JWT token here by using the John the Ripper program, and we're going to compare it against every word in a particular word list. And the word list we're going to be using to try to figure out what the secret is this list right here called rocky.txt. So rocky.txt is a list of the 14 million most common passwords, and it's a very commonly used password list for hash cracking exercises like this. So let's go ahead and run the program. Okay, and it managed to finish up pretty quickly, and it tells us right here that the secret that was used to sign the JWT is this secret right here. I love Pico. So seeing as this is picoCTF, that's kind of it's kind of on the nose. We're just going to copy this, and we're going to use this to sign the new JWT token that we're creating. So over at JWT.io, we're going to put in over here as the JWT secret, I love Pico. And okay, so after that, we've got our new JWT token that we can provide to the web application. So after everything is all plugged in over here, we're just going to copy this new JWT token. Okay, so we just copied the new JWT, and then we go back to the website. So in our cookies over here, JWT, we're just going to replace the current value of the JWT, paste in the new value, press enter, and then we're going to reload the page. So just click on the reload button here, and we get the flag. So here's your JWT Scratchpad. picoCTF JWT was just what you thought. And we can just copy the flag and then go back to the picoCTF webpage, paste it in, click on Submit Flag, and then we're done. All right, everybody, so this was a guided walkthrough for the JWT Scratchpad Challenge from picoCTF. If you enjoyed this guided walkthrough, please click on the like and subscribe buttons on the video and click and leave a comment underneath the video. But until next time, HackerFrogs out.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.